What up, you guys? YouTube. Seymour L6. We're gonna hop into some interview. It's called NF Interview. Explain his OCD, being an outcast and hip hop. So we'll check that out. I think 16 bars, whatever it is. We're gonna check this one out. It's like 40 minutes long. So if you guys are interested in this one, we're gonna cut them down like I did the last one. Probably 3 to 4 parts. But yeah, if you guys new, like and subscribe. If you guys already been here, I appreciate you guys. Man, you guys don't know how much you guys mean to me. But yeah, we're gonna jump right into this, and hope you guys like this one.
So we're here with 16 Bars, and I'm sitting next to NF. We're in Berlin. So you just arrived, but you've been to Germany before. Were you able to look at Berlin a little bit, at least, this time?
No, not really. I mean, last night a little bit, but not much. I had, what's that sausage called?
Bockwurst?
Oh, yeah.
Or curry?
It was some kind of bratwurst. It was really good. But yeah, I only had last night to really go around, and then we leave tomorrow, so, but yeah.
That has to be super frustrating. You go all these places, and then you don't really have time to check shit out.
I'm actually not very much of like an explorer kind of person, so it doesn't bother me too much, but every once in a while it does, but yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into the music straight off. Love the project. Love the videos. But there is something that I wondered about, so let me get it. Okay. Now, you had said in an interview for How Could You Leave Us, which is definitely a different project, but you said that you couldn't record the song completely when you did it. Like you couldn't finish it, you had to take a break because it was such an emotional song. Did you have any moments like that for this project?
No, that was the most emotional song I'd ever recorded my whole life. I don't know if we took a break in the middle of doing it, but we had to, me and my producer, is one of my best friends, we had to get out of the studio after a while because it was like 2 days of like very depressing. It was also, I was venting, so it was nice to be able to like express myself, but it was like kind of a dark 2 days.
How'd you leave us? I think that's when this is that one track what he was talking about. That's when it's Mom, right? I believe so.
So we definitely we just left and went and saw a movie or something and just hung out and got away from the studio. But for this project, definitely emotional, dark moments, but probably not the same as that. That was just like so emotionally draining, I think, because I actually started talking about some things in a different way and like digging deeper into my mom, passing. So, but this record is like probably the most emotional one on this record would be Hate Myself, just because I wrote it when I was in like my darkest place after after Perception came out and I started touring a lot. I'd never toured that much before.
Good thing I did Hate Myself and Why Did You Leave Us before I check this one out, because now I understand what you're talking about. So I did hate my. If you guys didn't check that one, go send them somewhere down in the videos. But yeah, this is so good so far, man.
And I think tour
life is hard.
Yeah, just speaking like to other artists and stuff too. I just realized can be like a scary place, I guess, for some artists. Like, just, I don't know. I get really depressed when I'm on the road, so that was a song that I started writing when I was in that place. But, yeah.
But you'd actually intended, from my understanding, that you wanted it to be, and I quote, motivating and encouraging. Do you regret that it's not like that?
No, I don't, because I think I felt like that because I was like, I wanted it to be so different from anything else I'd made, but it just kind of reminded me that I've always made music from where I'm at, like currently, or I've talked about my past and I've talked about other things, but I just wanted to, I realized that it was just like, I'm not going to be able to write from the place that I'm just not feeling right now, so I don't regret it. I think the project is what it was supposed to be. and I'll just keep striving to make better music too.
So from Mansion, Therapy Session, Perception, and now The Search, what would you say was the hardest project for you to work on, for you personally?
I think there'd be different reasons. I mean, different reasons for different projects to be more difficult, I guess. But I would say The Search was probably one of the hardest ones for me because, like I said, coming off Perception, when Perception dropped, I went on the road and I did 4 tours that year. I think I did the first Perception run, then I think I went to Europe, then I did the tour with Logic, and then I did another tour of my own project again. So I'd never experienced not having as much time to write and record and stuff. And then coming into the beginning of the year, it was like I never had like a deadline either for a record. Like I did this one where it was like, hey, we're trying to plan the next tour. The album would have to be out by this time. And so it was just all this pressure of like, oh, I have this amount of time to get the record done. And then I was just freaking out, like, I want to make sure it's good. I'm not just going to put it out so I can go on tour, you know. So I'd say this one probably all around was probably the most difficult.
How did you deal with the pressure? Certain things you do?
Right. It's just like what I try to explain to people is like writing music, at least for me, because I write from an emotional place or when I'm inspired, it's not like, hey, go in the studio for 2 months and finish an album. Like for me, it's like if I don't feel inspired, I can't write, you know. I'll spend hours at my house writing and sometimes I'll get nothing. And so it's not like, hey, you know, I always use it's a funny example. It's like mowing your grass. It's like whether I want to mow my grass or not, I can still go out there and mow my grass, right? With writing music, it just isn't the same. It's like I can write something, but if it's not good enough to me or whatever, then I don't want to put it out. So.
Okay, yeah. That sounds tough for somebody who has sporadic moments of like creativity and inspiration. What do you say? It's writer's block in a sense, or
sometimes I get that.
He take his time with stuff. I can see that. It's good to take your time. Motivation helps a lot. Sometimes you need that drive to push you sometimes. But yeah, I feel that's why you make the music you make, because if you get that push, you can make anything you want. Man, it made me think a lot.
And it's also coming off Perception and just like, that was my first album where it was just bigger, way bigger than anything I'd ever done, having Let You Down do what it did, and then just the touring. It was all amazing stuff, but I think it also just sets a bar for yourself, and you're just like, oh, how am I going to live up to that? Is anyone going to like this album? Is this album that great? Like, I second guess myself a lot, and I'm a perfectionist, so it's like that whole struggle. So yeah, The Search definitely, back to your question, was probably the hardest all around, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So,
do you think being a perfectionist has hindered you in some ways when it comes to your creative process? Because you do everything.
Actually, I
right?
think this is the weird thing. The tough thing about being a perfectionist is I think there's a line, and I think people are perfectionists. They're never like in the middle, in the healthy stage of like, I want to make things as best I can. It's like me, I'm like way over the line of like, oh, it needs to be this or whatever. So it actually helps me, it drives me, because I'm like, this isn't good enough. I need to work harder. I need to do this. But then, yeah, sometimes it is unhealthy mentally, because if you have the idea that you'll never be good enough or you never make anything good enough, it can drive you to work really hard, but also it can make you like very unhappy. So I think it's a balance that probably a lot of people struggle with, but definitely I do. So,
is that a reason why you only work with one producer in a very small team, because they can deal with like the standard you set to yourself and like the way you want things to be? Or is it just because it's your best friend?
Well, one thing is I don't really trust people, and yes, I like and I also like to do things my way with like Tommy Prophet. He's one of my best friends, and like we've been doing it since the first album. And to me, it's just like, I love working with him, and I think the stuff we make is great. And then I have other friends too that come in on my projects and do the drums for a track, and we'll collaborate on a few different things. So I just like keeping my circle of people I work with small, like producing wise, just because I think it, like all my videos, everything, like I use my same guy for all my videos because I like to be involved in directing the videos. So it's like some people don't want to do that. They don't want to do a video with you if you're directing it or helping direct, because I also like to sit in on the editing sessions.
Oh,
and like
God.
yeah, all of that.
You'll sit next to the person while they're editing. Wow.
Yeah. So
Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect with him. Like he said, he's a perfectionist. Like, everything got to be nice, perfect. Like, look at his videos. His videos are like movies and stuff. Like, it's amazing. Like, man, Story, especially, man, I seen Story, bro. Man, I reacted to Story. I couldn't post because the black, so I'm gonna put that on my Patreon. And Clouds, man, that one too. That's gonna be on my Patreon as well. All the videos is like amazing. So quality movie wise, it's crazy. Yeah, he's a storyteller, definitely a storyteller. There's only two people I know who could do stories like that, and he's one of them. But yeah, I'm gonna stop it right there. But if you guys like this interview, if you guys want me to keep it pushing and keep it going, we can keep it going. And just let me know in the comments. And if you guys new, like, subscribe, and I appreciate all you guys. I definitely do. So I'll see you guys in the next one.